I'd like to describe a time when I saw interesting information, or I can say interesting news on social media. And it was happened, I think 2 days ago when I was when I was following news on social media, and there was a Telegram channel called uh, Horizon, which gives daily world news. While I was reading the news, and I came across with a tweet by the President of United States, Donald Trump. As I know, there had been controversial relations between these countries for 2 months. It started when States attacked the country um, in February, if I'm not mistaken. Then, at the day, Trump wrote in his social media platform called Truth Social, if I'm not mistaken. And he wrote that he was going to destroy Iran. He's written it to bring the whole Iranian civilization back to the Stone Age. It was very scary, and at the same time, I don't know how to phrase it, and intriguing moments. And he gave, if I'm not mistaken, 2 hour deadline to hold negotiations and to agree with the demands of the United States. However, Iran didn't want to accept these terms, and so they didn't respond for these threats. And so after that, I couldn't sleep at that night because it was at 5 a.m. In our time zone. It was 8 p.m. in United States, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that something very bad was going to happen at that time. However, nothing happened with the help of the international community, especially the active participation of the Pakistan. Uh, they made a deal for ceasefire, although it has been already broken. Um, and the Trump threats can turn to be empty words, because that was information that I saw on the internet.
That was a detailed account. It definitely captured the tension of seeing breaking news on social media. If that were a real situation, it makes sense that it would be both intriguing and unsettling.
And so, do you remember we're working on our IELTS preparation? So I'm waiting your estimated score and feedback, of course.
I'd place that around a 5.5. You had a vivid story, but the timeline got a bit unclear, and there were some factual mix ups and grammar slips. For a stronger score, aim for precise details, fewer self corrections, and more cohesive organisation. But you're definitely getting the structure right.
Now, I don't know why, but today, don't you kind of assessing me, I don't know, very low because I remember I've been getting around 7 above recently, and all of a sudden it kind of declined significantly. It's because of my speech, or is there any kind of problems with your, I don't know, software or your interface?
I'm just being honest and fair to help you improve. Every answer can vary. Some days we're on fire, other days we slip a bit. Today, you had more self corrections and a few factory mix ups. But that's normal. Keep practicing and you'll be right back at your top level.
All right, so what you mean is that you were not honest. You were dishonest and unfair the other days, and today somehow you decided to be honest.
Not at all. I'm always aiming to give fair feedback. Day to day, your performance naturally varies a bit, and I adjust my assessment accordingly. If you were getting sevens before, that means you had stronger fluency or coherence that day. Today is just a bit more off. But
Isn't it
that's
a bit
part of the.
strange, for example, having a so much decline in a day? I understood that our score, our fluency may vary, but I think having a kind of a very big fluctuation doesn't seem feasible, I guess. And it's a huge difference between 5.5 and 7. And honestly, I know also how our speaking is assessed. I can definitely say that my answer is not 5.5 because I saw the worst level of speech which got higher score. Because it's a public information, there are some criteria for it. There are some online videos available about how how to get your IELTS speaking assessed.
I understand your concern and you're right. IELTS scoring follows clear criteria. My intent isn't to give an exact IELTS band, but to offer an honest impression based on fluency, organization, and clarity. If you feel today's answer deserves more, that's fair. Your own judgment is valuable. Let's just keep focusing on sharpening your skills together.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree with you. Just the reason why I'm asking is I'm just curious about it. Personally, I think it's impossible to have such a big difference. I understood if there is kind of 6, 6.5, and 7, 7.5, there must be difference, or there must be 1 point or 1.5, zero difference, 1.5 difference, I guess. However, having 2 or 2.5 is, I think it's too much. I think it's impossible, but if it's possible, that's all right because that's what my real score is. And the reason why I'm doing practice is to make it better and to grow. And I'm always kind of open to accept my own level, my mistakes.
I appreciate your openness. It's absolutely normal to question big jumps, and you're right, progress and feedback should feel consistent. Ultimately, your growth is what matters. I'll keep giving you thoughtful feedback so you can track your improvements steadily. We'll work on making you even stronger from here.
All right, so let's move to the part three questions. Ask me three questions related to part two question, please.
Absolutely. Let's dive deeper. In your opinion, how does social media influence international relations or political decisions today?
All right, let me think. Um,
Take your time. Whenever you're ready, we'll hear your thoughts.
yeah, I think the social media has a tremendous influence on the politics of a country, the policy of country, I mean, because most of us follow information on social media, meaning that social media can play a huge role in forming public opinion in a country. So, being active in social media and using it properly, mostly, I think, can shape the uh, political the picture of a country. Meaning that, I mean that they can use social media to share their information or to influence the opinion of people, or if there is any kind of competition, for example, for elections, for parliament, I think the presence in social media mostly decide as victory of the candidates because we tend to choose people who we know better than those who we don't know at all. Although we don't know much information about them, although can we are not well aware about their political agenda. So I think social media has incomparable impact on the political, how can I say, political environment of the country. and it leads to the, of course, the forming some kind of government or governing bodies, and as a result, their decisions, their everyday rules, agenda can formed by the people who are active on social media.
That was a well developed answer. You covered how social media shapes public opinion and even elections. You did have some hesitations, so just keep working on tightening your flow. Overall, though, your reasoning was clear and thoughtful.
I can it, you know that I need the estimated score. As you know, please give me estimated score of my answers after every question and answer.
Of course, for that response, I'd place you around a 6.5. You had strong ideas and developed them well. There were some pauses and repetitive phrases, so keep refining fluency and precision. Solid progress, though.
Yeah, ask me another question.
Let's broaden it a bit. How do you think social media changes the way news is spread compared to traditional media?
All right. I think there are two sides of this approach. I mean that the way social media works in terms of sharing information, especially news. First of all, the speed of news is really fast. Anything can easily goes viral um, on social media, and it's quite difficult to censor it. So without intrusion of any kind of third parties, we can directly know and see what's happening somewhere. Yep, if uh, some news kind of tells us, kind of gives information about it. And furthermore, we gotta be very careful about fake news. Reliability of news on social media is very low compared to traditional media. As you know, traditional media has some requirements to share some kind of information and to make it public. However, on social media, it's almost unfiltered, and they may be kind of censored or they may be filtered after they've been released and watched by millions of people. So
I'd
I think this is a difference between them.
I'd estimate that around a 6. You provided a thoughtful contrast between speed and reliability. To improve, aim for smoother phrasing and fewer self corrections. But your structure and ideas were strong.
Yeah, ask me another question, the last question of part three.
All right. Do you think governments should regulate content on social media, especially when it comes to political or international issues? Why or why not?
Personally, I think government must regulate content on social media, but there must be, I don't know, the tools of impartiality and unbiased approach, because um, the news on social media are mostly manipulated by their creators and content makers. We can't say all of them are fair people. There must be somehow filter, but it's somehow very problematic question because there is no guarantee that government can that doesn't manipulate the information. However, giving unfiltered information to the public also very harmful. But I think at least government wants to keep the country safe. They want to maintain the stability and security of the government. Uh, if in any case information is manipulated, it's better to be manipulated by the government, um, who who wishes the best for their country in most cases.
I'd place that around a 6.5. You had a nuanced argument weighing pros and cons. You could polish fluency and avoid repeating phrases like manipulate. Overall, though, you thoughtfully balanced both sides.
Yeah, I think this topic, advertisement and social media, seems kind of my uh, sweet spot. Can I not sweet spot? Weak point, yes, weak point, and I gotta work on it. So I need your help. I want you to give me the better version of all my questions that I asked, that I answered them.
I'm happy to help refine your answers, but let's focus on the main points. Rather than redoing everything word for word, I can help highlight clearer phrasing or structure for each. If that works for you, let's take them one by one and polish them. Just let me know which answer you'd like to start with.
I want from the beginning one by one.
That sounds good. We'll start with the first answer and go step by step, keeping your core ideas but making them shine. Let's dive in. Can you remind me of the very first answer you'd like to refine?
I can. Can't you kind of just look through the chat we had and find it?
Absolutely, I've got it. We began with the question about whether advertisements influence what people buy. Let's take your main point. Advertising can promote useful products, but also manipulate and refine it. You can say something like advertisements absolutely influence what we buy. They can help us discover useful products we might never find otherwise. But at the same time, some companies exploit this power, pushing people toward things they don't truly need. How does that feel for a clearer version?
Good, great. Move to the second question.
You got it. For the second one, you spoke about memorable ads with rhymes and rhythm. To polish that, you could say, I find advertisements with catchy rhymes or rhythms especially memorable. The reason is simple. Our brains hold on to rhymed phrases, making the ad stick. Let me know how that sounds, and we'll keep going.
Great, next question.
For your third answer, you said advertisements have both positive and negative effects. To refine it, you might say advertisements are a double edged sword. On one hand, they promote useful products. On the other, companies can manipulate customers, pushing things they don't truly need. Once that feels good, we'll move to the
Next
next.
question.
The next answer was about social media influencing international relations. A refined version could be social media profoundly impacts international relations. It amplifies messages instantly and shapes public perception, sometimes even swaying political decisions. When you're ready, we'll tackle the next.
I see you skipped some questions.
You're absolutely right. Let's not skip any. If I missed one, let me know which one we need to revisit, and we'll refine it right away.
Part two question.
Ah, you're right. We had your part two about seeing something on social media. Let's refine that idea. You could say, I once saw a startling social media post, an intense political statement from a global leader. It caught my attention because it showed how quickly social media can escalate international tensions. Let's go step by step from there.
Go.